Every January, 3,000 of the world's most powerful people meet in a Swiss ski resort, and nobody votes for them. CEOs, billionaires, prime ministers, central bankers, media executives, they all gather at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and they decide things, big things: climate policy, digital currency, global health standards, economic regulations, not through elections, not through democratic process, through private conversations in closed rooms. This is where the real decisions get made. Not in Congress, not in Parliament, in Davos. This is the story of how a yearly meeting became more powerful than most governments. How Klaus Schwab created the most influential organization you've never heard of. And how Davos became the shadow government of the global economy. Stay with me, because what happens in Davos affects your job, your money, your freedom, and your future. And you have zero say in any of it. Let's start with what Davos actually is. Because it's more than just a meeting. The origin: Klaus Schwab, a German business professor, organizes a small management symposium in Davos, Switzerland. About 450 executives attend. Modest beginning. Schwab's vision: create a platform where business leaders and politicians can discuss the global economy privately, away from public pressure. This is crucial. Away from public pressure, that's the whole point. By 1987, it's renamed World Economic Forum, WEF, and it's growing rapidly. Today, 3,000 attendees. But here's what matters: who attends. The attendees: political leaders, presidents and prime ministers from 50+ countries, cabinet members, central bank governors, UN officials, corporate CEOs, 1,000 CEOs of largest global corporations, tech giants, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, banking leaders, JP, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Big Pharma, executives, media conglomerates, billionaires, Bill Gates, George Soros, Ray Dalio, Mark Benioff, hundreds more other influencers, academic leaders, NGO directors, think tank heads, selected journalists who get access in exchange for favorable coverage. The cost: this isn't open to public. You can't just buy a ticket. Membership fee: $60,000 annually, minimum plus attendance costs. $19,000, $600,000 plus, depending on access level, plus housing in Davos. Hotels charge $1,000 plus per night during forum. Total cost to participate meaningfully: $200,000, $1 million plus. This ensures only ultra-wealthy and powerful attend. By design. The format: 5 days of meetings, panels, and private discussions. Public panels are recorded and shared. But those aren't where real decisions happen. Real power is in private bilateral meetings, closed-door roundtables, invitation only, dinners, hallway conversations, no recordings, no press, no public accountability. This is where deals are made, policies are shaped, alliances are formed. Now let's talk about what actually gets decided in Davos. Example 1. The Great Reset. COVID hits. Economy crashes. June 2020. Klaus Schwab announces the Great Reset. Not a theory. Official WEF initiative. Openly published. The plan: use COVID crisis to restructure global economy toward stakeholder capitalism. Corporations considering all stakeholders, not just shareholders. Fourth Industrial Revolution, AI automation, digital transformation, green transition, climate-focused economic reorganization, digital identity systems. Within months, governments worldwide are implementing pieces of this agenda. Who voted on the Great Reset? Nobody. It was decided in Davos circles, then rolled out globally. Example 2. Digital currencies. Davos discussions about cryptocurrency and central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, 2017 to 2020. Multiple Davos sessions on reimagining money, 2020 to 2024. Dozens of countries begin developing CBDCs. China launches digital yuan. Europe moves towards digital euro. Fed researches digital dollar. The push came from Davos, where central bankers and tech CEOs met privately, decided digital currency was future, then went home and implemented it. Public wasn't consulted. This was decided by elites behind closed doors. Example 3. ESG investing. ESG: environmental, social, governance criteria for investment. This didn't emerge from grassroots. It was designed and promoted through WEF. WEF publishes Who Cares Wins report. Coins term ESG 2020s. ESG becomes mandatory for major investment funds. Trillions of dollars now allocated based on ESG scores. Your retirement fund, probably investing based on criteria decided in Davos, without your knowledge or consent. Example 4. Public-private partnerships, WEF, promotes stakeholder capitalism and public-private partnerships. Translation: corporations and governments working together, sharing decision-making power. Sounds nice, but it means corporations influencing government policy regulations, written by industries they regulate. Conflicts of interest institutionalized. This is corporate capture of government. Promoted as solution. Implemented globally. Who benefits? Davos attendees, corporations and politicians working together. The pattern: ideas discussed in Davos become global policy within 5 to 10 years. Not because they're debated democratically, because the people with power to implement them were all in the room when discussed. Prime Minister attends Davos. Hears idea from billionaire CEO. Returns home. Implements policy. Public thinks it's government idea. Really, it was Davos idea. This happens constantly. Across countries. Across issues. Now let's talk about how Davos maintains power. Because it's more sophisticated than you think. Mechanism 1. The Young Global Leaders Program. WEF creates young global leaders. YGL selects young rising politicians and executives. Ages 30 to 40. Future leaders. Gives them Davos access. Networks them with current power brokers. Indoctrinates them with WEF ideology. Notable YGL alumni: Emmanuel Macron, French President Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, former New Zealand PM Mark Zuckerberg, Meta CEO Tony Blair, former UK PM, Angela Merkel, former German Chancellor, Larry Page, and Sergey Brin, Google founders. These aren't random success stories. They were selected, mentored, and promoted through WEF networks. When Macron becomes president, WEF has direct influence. When Trudeau makes policy, he's using WEF framework. It's not conspiracy, it's documented networking and mentorship. But the effect is the same. WEF ideology spreading through governments worldwide. Mechanism 2. Strategic partnerships. WEF has strategic partners, corporations that pay $600,000 plus annually. These partners get special access, private meetings with heads of state, input on policy discussions. Essentially, corporations are buying influence over global policy, legally, openly. Mechanism 3. Setting the agenda every year. WEF publishes Global Risks Report, identifying biggest threats to world. This report is read by every major government and corporation. It sets global agenda. Who decides what's in the report? WEF, which reflects interests of its members, corporations and billionaires. So corporate interests become global priorities, and governments respond accordingly. Mechanism for media management. WEF invites select journalists, gives them exclusive access. In exchange, favorable coverage. Result: Davos is presented as benign gathering of concerned global leaders. Critical coverage is rare. Meanwhile, any criticism is dismissed as conspiracy theory. Mechanism 5. Normalizing corporate power. By gathering CEOs and politicians together as equals, WEF normalizes corporate power over government. You see billionaire tech CEO sitting next to Prime Minister, treating each other as peers, making decisions together. This normalizes the idea that corporations should have government-level power. Traditionally, governments regulated corporations. Now corporations and governments partner. Davos made this arrangement seem normal, even desirable. Let's look at specific examples of Davos power in action. Case Study 1. COVID response, March 2020. COVID hits. Governments worldwide implement remarkably similar policies. Lockdowns, digital tracking, vaccine passports, massive money printing. These weren't independently decided. The framework was discussed in Davos circles for years. 2019 Davos. Pandemic preparedness discussed. Public-private cooperation emphasized. October 2019. Event 201. Johns Hopkins, WEF, and Gates Foundation simulate coronavirus pandemic. Discuss response strategies. March 2020. Real pandemic hits. Governments implement strategies eerily similar to Event 201 simulation. Coincidence or coordination? 2022-2021 Davos meetings. The Great Reset promoted Build Back Better. Fourth Industrial Revolution. Politicians worldwide use identical language. Build Back Better becomes slogan in US, UK, Canada, Australia, simultaneously. This level of coordination doesn't happen by accident. Case Study 2. Climate Agenda. WEF heavily promotes climate action. Net zero by 2050. Carbon credits, green transition. Within years, governments worldwide adopt identical targets and language. 2015. Paris Climate Agreement. 2021, Glasgow Climate Pact, all shaped by people who meet regularly at Davos. The policies, carbon taxes, emissions trading, green energy subsidies, who benefits? Companies attending Davos, Tesla, renewable energy corporations, banks selling carbon credits, who pays average citizens through higher energy costs and taxes. Case Study 3. Digital ID WEF promotes digital identity as solution to various problems. Post 2 2020. Dozens of countries begin implementing digital ID systems. Vaccine passports during COVID were proof of concept. Now expanding to digital wallets, digital currencies, comprehensive digital identity. This agenda was set in Davos, not through democratic process. The pattern of influence, issue discussed at Davos for several years. WEF publishes white papers and reports policies promoted through Young Global Leaders Network. Corporate media partners with WEF, promotes narrative governance, implement policies. Public thinks it's natural evolution reality. It was planned and coordinated by Davos Network. Not every detail is controlled, but the general direction is guided. So who really runs the world economy? Not your elected representatives. They implement, but they don't decide. Real power lies in the network. Davos attendees, corporate CEOs, billionaires, central bankers, strategic partners. This is oligarchy with extra steps, ruled by a wealthy few, but disguised as global cooperation and stakeholder capitalism. The Davos ideology, core beliefs, globalism over nationalism, corporate government partnerships, expert rule over populist democracy, technological solutions to everything, market-based solutions to social problems, stakeholder capitalism. What this means in practice: sovereignty is bad, blocks global solutions. Populism is dangerous, rejects expert rule. Nationalism is backwards, prevents global governance. Democracy is inefficient to slow. For crises, this ideology serves those at the top. By definition, globalism benefits corporations operating worldwide. Sovereignty benefits citizens of specific nations. Expert rule benefits credentialed elites. Democracy benefits everyone. Corporate government partnerships benefit corporations. Regulation benefits public. The alternative perspective. What would world look like without Davos? Governments would answer to voters, not corporations. Policies would be debated publicly, not decided privately. Economic systems would be shaped democratically, not by billionaires. National interest would matter more than corporate profits. But we don't live in that world. We live in the world Davos created. Can it be challenged? Theoretically, yes. Would require politicians refusing to attend Davos. Public awareness of Davos, influence media coverage, critical of WEF. Alternative institutions to counter WEF voters. Demanding accountability, practically difficult. Because politicians benefit from Davos access. Public, mostly unaware media, is Davos partner. WEF has no real competition. Criticizing Davos gets you labeled conspiracy theorist. The system protects itself. So here's the truth about Davos. It's where the real decisions get made. 3,000 of the world's most powerful people meet annually. In private, make deals, shape policy, guide the global economy. Your elected representatives attend, but they're not making decisions. They're taking orders from billionaires and CEOs. The Great Reset, digital currencies, ESG investing, climate agenda, pandemic response, COVID policies, all coordinated through Davos Network. Young Global Leaders Program ensures future politicians are WEF aligned. Strategic partnerships give corporations direct policy influence. Media management ensures favorable coverage. This isn't conspiracy, it's documented. WEF is open about its goals. Klaus Schwab writes books explaining the agenda. The question isn't whether Davos has power, it's whether this power is legitimate. They're unelected, unaccountable, answerable to no one. Yet they shape policies affecting billions. Is this democracy? Or is this oligarchy wearing a suit? What do you think? Does Davos have too much power? Should corporate leaders shape government policy? Drop your thoughts in comments. Because right now, decisions about your economy, your rights, your future are being made in a Swiss ski resort. By people you've never heard of, who you never voted for, who don't care what you think. That's the real power of Davos. Not the meetings you see. The meetings you don't, not the public panels, the private conversations, not the speeches, the deals. They tell you it's about improving the state of the world. But whose world? Theirs. The top 0.001%. while you work harder for less, while inflation erodes your savings, while opportunities disappear. They meet in Davos, toast champagne, decide your future, and call it global governance. Welcome to the real power structure, where elections are theater, where democracy is performative, where the real rulers never face voters. Davos doesn't just run the world economy, it is the world economy. And you're not invited.